Please wake up from your bread and circuses. We need you to take the red pill. Come with us down the rabbit hole. We're running out of time. This video doesn't have any swear words, blasphemy, or adult content, but it does have dangerous levels of free thinking. If you want to support this, donate $1 on Patreon or buy a t-shirt. Email me your art that I can use for the channel. Sacha Baron Cohen doesn't like free expression for you. How about get effed, Cohen? Just GTFO Cohen. He apparently has a problem when other people have free expression. You probably know Borat. I'm sure you've seen the movie. I don't know, it's 15, 20 years old now. Funny at the time, sort of. Cohen, the character, when you saw that show, Coming to America, whatever Does America, about halfway through it, you started to get the idea that he really doesn't like Americans and he really doesn't like the people of the light. I got this funny feeling, kind of hair raising the back of the neck, that there's something underneath that human mask he wears. You strip it away and there's something evil underneath there, and there is. He's not laughing. He's not laughing with Americans. He's laughing at them. There's a very, very dark, rotten, corrupt core to him. So he accepts an award from the Anti-Defamation League. I'm sure you know what they are. He's famed for tricking real people into making outlandishly bigoted comments on camera, turning their prejudice into the butt of his jokes. Yeah, drunk people say stupid things, and people say stupid things all the time, but here's the thing about him and his show. Who says most racist things in America? The most racist things I've ever heard have come from African Americans or Asians. The least racist people in my experience have been the white people. They've been just the least bigoted, least prejudiced people. But what does Cohen show? He shows only the white people saying stupid things. Why would he do that? You know why. He gave his little speech. He called social media a sewer of bigotry and vile conspiracy theories. More on that in a moment. Taking aim at the leaders of social media platforms for not more actively removing free expression from their platforms. He gave his most biting criticism to Zuckerberg, whom he called unaccountable and compared to Caesar. I'm just a comedian and an actor. I'm not a scholar, said Cohen, who was accepting the ADL's award. But one thing is pretty clear to me. All this hate and violence is being facilitated by a handful of internet companies that amount to the greatest propaganda machine in history. So Sarah Silverman, Jimmy Kimmel, Cohen, well, so they wore blackface and dropped the N-bombs, and Silverman has a whole song about N-bombs. They're the most racist people in America, and you don't have a problem with the Kimmels, the Silvermans, and the Cohens. The ADL gives them awards. Something's not adding up here, guys. Okay, we won't go into the ads because you come into the point of saying, well, what is... who gets to determine the truth? Well, the ADL, which is an Israeli lobbying group, gets to determine American politics. Does that make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. Zuckerberg defended free expression. It's very, very strange. Very, very strange for a social media platform to somewhat defend free expression. Zuckerberg says social media companies should live up to their responsibilities, but he's totally silent about what should happen when they don't. Well, who determines what is true and what is false? Shouldn't the ultimate arbiter of truth be the individual? Otherwise, when someone else determines your truth for you, they call that slavery. You're just a slave, and someone else is your master. You're an adult. You can determine what is true and what is false. And with something like commercial expression, there are laws in place to regulate commercial advertising expression. But political opinions are usually opinions. Statements of fact is very, very difficult to determine. Okay, he makes this straw man argument about, I'm going to have to substitute some words here because YouTube is being YouTube, about people coming into a socialist, we'll call them socialists, coming into a restaurant and threatening people. Well, there are constraints on the First Amendment. There are constraints on free expression. There's usually, you're familiar with tortious interference with prospective business advantage, that kind of thing. There's defamation, public disclosure, private facts. There's After 911, there's a law that says terrorist threats. But before that, there was always general fighting words doctrine or imminent threats of violence, clear and present danger test. The Supreme Court has evolved the language over the years, but there's always been prohibitions against violence. If someone is threatening to kill someone, you call the police, you call the FBI, you let them handle it. That is not protected speech. This is a straw man. He's switching the argument. People on Facebook who were talking about the events that cannot be named that occurred about 80 years ago, he's equating those two things. It's a false equivalence. If someone says they want to hurt you, call the FBI. And he's also changing the argument a little bit because he's saying the government needs to regulate social media platforms. Yeah, I agree. The Supreme Court needs to issue a ruling that they are the new town square. You absolutely must have free expression. The First Amendment must apply to social media and the internet. There is no alternative platform. It is the town square. It is the place where people work and live. Most businesses would not be able to go forward. Many businesses would not be able to go forward if they were not on the internet. Let me put it this way. If Instagram said, we don't want to platform African Americans, well, then you'd lose your mind because you'd say, it's like the bake the cake thing. But the thing is, there are federal laws that say you do have to platform everyone. You can't discriminate on the basis of race. This First Amendment says you can't discriminate on the basis of ideas, and their counter argument is, well, these are private businesses. They're not protected by the First Amendment. The rebuttal to that is they're not private because, one, they have so many interstate contacts that the United States Constitution applies. Federal law applies to interstate contacts and interstate commerce. Commerce clause and all that, and federal contacts. The free speech applies when there is no alternative platform. It is the town square. There is no alternative to Twitter. Twitter is it. If there were a dozen Twitters with the same reach, then yes, the Supreme Court might be able to say there were alternative platforms. There is no alternative to Facebook and Twitter. Twitter especially. Facebook, which owns Instagram, so you can consider those the same. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram are the largest platforms in the world. If Twitter decides to deplatform you, you can forget about running for office. You might not even be able to get a job. You might not be able to rent an apartment. If you get defamed by people on Twitter and then Twitter deplatforms you, guess what? You cannot defend yourself. That should terrify you. Wake up. I don't know how. Put down the video games. Put down the fast food. Wake the F up. Please wake up and take the effing red pill. I gotta stop swearing. Guys, this is really, really critically important, and we're just fat and stupid on video games and bread and circuses. Okay, I can't even say these two words on YouTube. Oh God, I'm getting so. The actor also slammed Zuckerberg for his stance on we'll call it, I don't know what to call it. Any substitute, the algorithm probably picks up and it learns what words are substituted, dog whistles and stuff like that. Well, why do you speak in dog whistles? Because social media will deplatform us otherwise. Well, you shouldn't say bad things. So you're saying social media should control our speech? Yes. They should control our thinking, our thoughts. Are you out of your effing mind? Go live in North Korea and China. Go live in Russia during the worst of the communist atrocities, or Southeast Asia, or Central America and the banana republics, or Cuba. People hate communism. They love free expression. These certain people are terrified of free expression. They call those people authoritarians. So he found historical events denying deeply offensive. Fair enough. Hey, fair enough. I'm not arguing with you. But, people who want to argue about historical events or the shape of the earth or whether or not certain space travel events took place, big effing deal. Everything is on the table. If you want to talk about the shape of the earth, geophysics, okay. I mean, go for it. If that's what you enjoy. If you enjoy conspiracy theories about World War II, the earth topology, I should say, and space flight and landings, go for it. There's nothing You shouldn't be putting people in prison for free expression. Listen, if someone threatens imminent violence, yes, call the police. But if they're talking about conspiracy theories or rightfully looking into historical events where some people allegedly did some things, who cares? There's nothing, the truth doesn't fear investigation, guys, right? There's nothing that fears investigation. If the events happened, if it's the truth, I would want more people to look at it, learn the truth about history. I've read a lot about these historical events, but I'm prohibited about speaking about them. It's just silly, and I'm not saying I believe or espouse any of those three examples I mentioned, which are the most common things that social media doesn't like. I'm not saying I believe them or espouse any of them, but I think the people should not be threatened for discussing them. And this specific issue, it seems to be a real common one. If you go to we'll go to his Twitter real quick. Well, I'll go to in a sec. We'll go to his Twitter, and he's rightfully getting ratioed and destroyed in the comments. But the people who are on his side keep mentioning these events. For some reason, it is of critical importance to them. I'm making a video tonight for BitChute that will go into that in more detail, because YouTube is just, if they don't, their stages are, if you really say something that has wrongthink in it, too many hot words, they'll have a human being go through and probably read the transcript and just remove the video for wrongthink. If you use too many hot words in the title or in the video itself, they may not send out notifications, or they may bury it in the algorithm. So like if you have videos that usually my videos get 50 views, the video will get 5 views, because no one got the notification. It's just someone has to go to your channel and look at the video. So it's, why do we need constraints on free expression? We don't. We're adults. Okay, but anyway, this one issue seems to be a very, very sore spot for them. Why? Why? All events that happened 80 years ago should be open to exploration. I know as soon as you say that, the people on the left, the far left, think, oh my God, you're one of them. And the people on the far right think, oh yes, you're one of us. How about neither? How about just sticking to this one tenet, the one concept that the truth doesn't fear investigation? Anything is on the table. Yeah, he wants the government to regulate free expression. It should terrify you. He talks about product liability, so I assume he's had some legal training. Your product is defective, you're obliged to fix it, no matter how much it costs, no matter how many moderators. No, how about they don't? How about they don't? How about they let people decide for themselves? This is his Twitter. Please go on Twitter and follow me. I think I'm at Bianca Fights, because I've been on Twitter a month. I got a 24-hour timeout. I got a week timeout. So the third time's going to be they're going to boot me off that account. But guess what, Twitter? I have burner phones, so you can GTFO yourself. Sacha Baron Cohen, thank you, ADL, Israeli Lobbyist Group, for your International Leadership Award. My message: if we want to stop free expression, we have to regulate free expression and the platforms that allow free expression. Okay, buddy. Okay, why don't you go to a country where they don't have free speech? Village Idiot says, he's made his millions pull up the drawbridge. No, Cohen is just being censored. From the Times of Censored, most censoreds view Africans as cancer. 33% support violence, but then censored funds keep migrant missions afloat in the Mediterranean. Okay. I don't even know if I can click on these images, because you can go to Twitter and go to Sacha Baron Cohen's. This is like the third tweet down. He's getting ratio. There's like 2,000 comments. It's like 2,000 likes and 2,000 comments. Do I dare click on this? Okay, I can click on some of these, but I can't read them on YouTube. It's just no wrongthink allowed. You can go to his Twitter and read them. It's very, very interesting. You see, it lets you see the shape of what is to come. Let's see what, get in focus. Philip Cohen says, it's hard for us to coordinate our stories sometimes, so it appears there are disagreements among us. Fortunately, we all agree on the most important issues: eradicating whiteness and undermining its civilizations. So, Mr. Cohen, just a coincidence that these two Coens have to share the same name, is advocating for genocide for the people of the light. Shoot, I should not have said the G word on YouTube. That may get me manual review. Again, I'm probably not long for YouTube. Dangerous free thinking. Norway is too, we'll call it blanco. According to the president of the censored community in Oslo, Norwegian people have very little experience dealing with minorities, so we have a big job to do in bringing minorities to them, according to Irvin Cohn. Three guys have the same last name or similar last name. Interesting. And the fourth image, I don't think I can show you. Am I going to get in trouble for this? You're probably familiar with this image. I can't read it, and I can't even say her name on YouTube. How do I say this? We're headed for dark days. We're headed for trouble. I think we're headed for World War III in Europe. Absolutely. It's a few years away. Civil War in the United States. Yeah, I think so. Yes, I think so. Okay, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and get prepared. And see you on the alternative platforms.